So we have 2 new ABBA songs, we will be getting a brand new ABBA studio album with 10 songs, and we have an evening to remember for all times. I'm still kind of waiting for someone to say, I think you've been living in a dream world, but it's just not happening. All you folks with your comments tell me, it is happening, and with the whole world talking about it, well, I guess it's true. ABBA is back. Hey, so today we will be talking all about Voyage the album, and we even have some fairly new information too. But first, let's take a trip down memory lane and recall that very special Thursday evening. It's September the 2nd, 2021. I was completely excited and nervous the whole evening. When Björn and Benny were standing there, and Benny just casually mentioned
that we have made a new album with ABBA,
I was literally breathless for a moment. And when a few seconds later, we suddenly saw Agneta, Frida, Benny and Björn together in the studio again, that was it for me. Nervous breakdown, I was sobbing and shaking. It was like my whole state of mind was gone for a few seconds and left my body all by itself. But my spirit returned, and ever since then, it really is like new spirit has arrived. Everything feels so special, and even the entire legacy of ABBA shines in a new light to me. As I said, I was so nervous, but when Björn and Benny came in and did that interview, they really made me calm down because they were so relaxed, so happy to be there and to talk about everything. They explained the motivation for a whole new ABBA album by saying that it was a good incentive and that at one point there was no real output for Benny, who of course just keeps writing music every day. But with the prospect of a new ABBA album, he said,
all right, we may do a new ABBA album. And since then it's been just full speed ahead and a very, very joyful experience.
So good.
They also explained how they did it and that they simply don't understand the charts and the way modern pop artists are putting their songs together. So they just wrote and recorded the songs as best as they could, exactly the way they would feel it was right for them, basically like it always was. I love that interview, and they were really so comfortable and very easy and open with their replies. I'm very happy that all the secrets were revealed that night, and that also includes everything about ABBA's new album. The title, the artwork, and the fact that we got the entire tracklist from the get-go. So without further ado, let's talk about Voyage, ABBA's brand new album, number 9, or as Björn said it,
This is the follow-up of The Visitors.
I said it before, I love the entire design for it all. It's classy, elegant and simple, exactly what ABBA's visual appearance always was for me. But there is something we tend to forget to talk about, the album's title. I loved it from the beginning when we first heard about the Voyage project. It's like everything is in there, and there really couldn't be a more perfect title for this. Some people compared it to ABBA's Voulez-Vous and The Visitors because of its first letter, V, and I can see that, but the difference here is of course that those were 2 words each, Voulez-Vous and The Visitors, if you count the article as 1 word. But they also have different syllables. Voulez-Vous has 3, The Visitors has 4, Voyage only has 2 syllables. The only other albums with 2 syllables are their first one, Ring Ring, so it's like full circle now, and of course their self-titled album ABBA. And I just love that symmetry of syllables, ABBA Voyage. There are also similarities with ABBA the album, since that was their only album together with their self-titled one, where the title doesn't reflect a song from the album, like Voyage. And it also basically shares the same concept with it, since the title is sort of a vehicle for other things like ABBA the movie and with Voyage the concerts. But I would probably compare Voyage mostly to ABBA's Arrival. It's 1 word, it's similar in their visual appearances. It also has 10 tracks, the only other albums with 10 tracks are Voulez-Vous and Super Trooper. The others either have 12, 11 or 9. But above all, the general theme is very similar too. Arrival is part of a journey, Voyage as the journey itself. And Arrival was certainly the album that marked the beginning of ABBA's international breakthrough, so it's like they started in their helicopter and are now taking off into space. But in the end, our new album Voyage has basically a little bit from most of ABBA's other albums in it, and we were only discussing its title so far. So let's talk about the tracklist. Simply judging from the song titles, I feel that the sequence is fantastic. The album basically starts and ends with songs about faith and hope. Assuming the 10 tracks are divided into 5 songs for each side on the vinyl, I can also see similarities between the opening tracks of side A and B of that vinyl. I Still Have Faith in You and I Can Be That Woman, songs about strength. And in between, we perhaps have songs about the past, about memories and nostalgia, leading us to the penultimate track that could be a lyrical counterpart to Don't Shut Me Down with its ambiguous approach, basically saying, this is good what we're doing, no doubt about it. But I will now have a different approach and not go through the songs chronologically track by track, but I will talk about them in the order that they popped into my eyes when I first saw the tracklist. And when I saw the 10 songs for the first time all at once, one of the first things that caught my eyes was just a notion. I was screaming. If someone would have told me years ago, hey, ABBA will release their old outtake, Just a Notion, in full, I would have said, you're silly, that's never going to happen. But if they had told me, hey, ABBA will re-record their old outtake and release it on a new album, I would have probably asked him kindly to leave the room. The song was originally recorded in 1978 as part of the sessions for Voulez-Vous, but like many other songs from that time, was left unreleased. It first appeared in 1994 as snippet as part of the medley ABBA Undeleted with many other outtakes. I would assume the Voyage version was re-recorded from scratch, and to be honest, I love the fact that they would just pick up one of their old unfinished songs and say, hey, didn't we have this song recently? Well, let's finish it. This fits quite well to that sentiment that it must have been like no time had passed at all, and that they simply continued where they left. Another song, Bumblebee, is not the song Free as a Bumblebee, which we did speculate until recently. The latest official international ABBA fan club magazine confirmed that Bumblebee is a brand new song. This will be ABBA's third song title taken from the animal kingdom, joining tiger and eagle. Honey Honey is not about bees, and I don't think Björn and Benny want us to mention King Kong song. And if we take a look at the track record with these songs, they are both sung by Agneta and Frida together, so perhaps that could also be the case with Bumblebee. Now, let's talk about the other 6 songs. 3 titles that I found immediately intriguing, simply for the words, were When You Danced With Me, I Can Be That Woman, as I said, a song about strength I guess, which could probably have a lead vocal by Frida, and Ode to Freedom. Speculation so far had the theory that this final song could be an instrumental. If we have another comparison with the Arrival album, it's no surprise to think that Ode to Freedom could have been an instrumental track. Arrival, also the final track, has ABBA's vocals but no words and is largely instrumental, and was originally titled Ode to Dalecarlia. However, we now know, again, thanks to the new official international ABBA fan club magazine, that there are no instrumentals on Voyage. And I also think that we can make out the song title on this lyric sheet, Ode to Freedom. Another look at the Arrival album next to Voyage shows us that both Dancing Queen and When You Danced With Me are track 2, songs about dancing. I think When You Danced With Me could have both ladies on vocals throughout, and it also could be more up-tempo, considering that it's sequenced between the opening ballad and the next number, which brings us to Little Things, a Christmas song, as Benny told us. And can I just say that I love the fact that ABBA finally gives us a song for the season. The closest thing to a Christmas song so far has basically been the Super Trooper album with Happy New Year, but now we get a Christmas song, and it possibly could also be another single release from Voyage, and maybe, just maybe, even give us a proper video with the ABBA members, or a video greeting for the season. I'd say everything is possible now. We know from a recent interview with the sound engineer Bernard Löhr that Little Things is very simple, with just some keyboards and 2 voices, so I guess we'll have both ladies in unison. The fact that they finally did a Christmas song fits again perfect to all the other choices and my overall feeling that they just went for it without worries, that they simply had fun doing it. As I said before, a song that could lyrically reflect those feelings is the penultimate track, no doubt about it. And finally, there is this very strange title called Keep an Eye on Dan. This was one of the last titles when I saw the tracklist for the first time, and I first thought they must have forgotten some letters, but it is called Keep an Eye on Dan. Now, who is Dan? Is it Frida's good friend Dan Daniel? He was the first one that came into my mind, and I just can't think of any other Dan. If you have any other idea, let us know in the comments below. So let's wrap the discussion about the Voyage tracks by looking at who might sing which song on lead vocals. As far as I know, it's only the ladies singing. Again, this is about lead vocals, and of course, we already have 2 songs for each, one for Frida and one for Agneta. As I said, judging from its short length, When You Danced With Me could be up-tempo and, going with my comparison with Dancing Queen, could as well have both ladies together. Little Things does have two voices, and Just a Notion on its original recording also had both of them together, which I would imagine could be the case again. Side B could open like the A-side, with Frida leading on I Can Be That Woman, but to be honest, it could as well be Agneta. And now it gets tricky. What to do with Keep an Eye on Dan? I have absolutely no idea what to make of this title. Let's see. Bumblebee, I said, could follow the tradition of ABBA's other Animal songs and feature Agneta and Frida in unison. The same could be the case for No Doubt About It, and the grand finale, Ode to Freedom, might even have all four of them together, like the opening song at its end. That would make it a nice full circle. So this leaves us basically with either one of the ladies singing lead vocals on Keep an Eye on Dan, if they divided it up equally, and of course if all of my theories apply. And this would also give us a final similarity with the Arrival album, which had 2 songs for Agneta on solo lead and 2 songs for Frida. Again, this is just pure speculation for the most part, and it could very well be that there are not 4 but 6 solo songs that would possibly be When You Danced With Me for Agneta, since the first song had Frida, and then Frida for No Doubt About It. Anyway, it all remains excited, and there is already more. In a very recent interview with the sound engineer of the album, Bernard Leur, we got some more fascinating information. First of all, ABBA recorded more songs as part of these album sessions, but they weren't satisfied with those, so they remain unreleased. That's what they've always done, and I think it would have been a bit strange if they just recorded 10 songs and put all those 10 songs on the album. No, they basically recorded more and chose the 10 best songs. He also shed some light into the recording process, so the first 2 songs, those that we have, were recorded in 2017, in June as Benny told us 3 years ago. A few more songs were recorded in 2019, and the rest as recently as this year. Bernard Leur is also mixing the album in Dolby Atmos, which means that the songs are being mixed for surround sound with several speakers. This is the first time that any of ABBA's songs are mixed in a format other than stereo, and it will be interesting to see if and how we will be able to experience that. The probably hottest news of all is that we now got the running times for all 10 tracks. The 2 shortest are When You Danced With Me, which should be another argument for it to be an uptempo song, and No Doubt About It, both running for less than 3 minutes. The longest song, apart from I Still Have Faith in You, is Keep an Eye on Dan of all songs, followed by I Can Be That Woman, both running for a little more than 4 minutes. The full running time of the album is 37 minutes and 9 seconds. That would make it ABBA's 5th longest or shortest album and place it exactly in the middle of their 4 shortest and 4 longest albums. How cool is that? The album is available in many different configurations on all possible formats: CD, vinyl and cassette. They use the artwork we know, but they also use ABBA's digital versions for some exclusive releases, all 4 of them together, and also all 4 individually, on CD and cassette. There are also colored vinyls and picture discs, a CD deluxe edition with an exclusive poster, art cards and stickers, the 2 CD singles, I Still Have Faith in You on 7-inch vinyl, and of course, lots of merchandise too. And again, I love the gorgeous design and the fact that we have so many options to choose from. So there should be something for everybody. On that Thursday night, we also received comments from all 4 members of ABBA on Instagram about Voyage, the album and project, and they all have in common that each member basically talked beautifully about the others. Agneta praised Benny's studio and its safe environment and how much she was enjoying herself. Benny said that the most joyful thing was to hear Agneta and Frida sing again, which he says is just hard to beat. Björn also praised the amazing singing abilities of the ladies and their true and creative musicianship, and Frida talked with respect and love about the talent and true genius of Björn and Benny's songwriting. On an interview for Apple Music, Björn had some beautiful words about if he feels different now with his project.
It's like, yeah, there was something missing. And I didn't know it, but it feels now as though this was the missing piece. This was what was supposed to happen at this moment. I feel, yes, wow, so grateful we did this.
Well, if he feels complete and grateful, just what should we say? I think we are exactly on par with ABBA once again. And with everything we got, the interview with Björn and Benny, the recording footage, and the entire Voyage project. My feeling is that the ABBA members really grew together again to be the best of friends, and that's just beautiful to see. But the most beautiful thing of it all is that they decided to capture this moment into music again. And it feels right, and it really feels full circle. Here's my friend Sam with his feelings about ABBA Voyage.
Just a couple of weeks ago, before I Still Have Faith in You and Don't Shut Me Down were released, I talked about the fear that these new songs might feel a bit strange in a way, because we as ABBA fans listen to the same completed body of work for our entire life. About 3 weeks later, I can honestly say that both songs to me feel like a direct continuation of ABBA's previous work. But there is something about them and the entire Voyage album that feels so right, and I think that is because the entire project just doesn't feel like a continuation, but also a resolution. In a recent interview with Apple Music, Björn referred to the album as the missing piece. I tried to make sense out of Voyage for the last couple of weeks because, as of right now, The Visitors is still ABBA's last album, until November. And it always felt like a last album. There's this atmosphere of finality about it. It's such an intimate, reflective and adult record, probably their most thematically complex, dealing with themes of separation, the anxiety that time is running out, war, and even the political conflicts of its time. ABBA ended on a very dark note here, so how do you top that? Go even darker? Or return to more upbeat vibes? ABBA tried both, but in the end their solution was to take a break for the next 40 years. And now there's Voyage. And at least I think it makes ABBA's legacy even more perfect as it is, and that Voyage is indeed the missing piece. So the movie buff that I am, I came up with something called the ABBA story arc. The story of most films you watch is roughly structured like this. It describes the patterns in which the events of the story flow. And if we apply all 9 studio albums to that pattern, I think ABBA's story, including Voyage, very much makes sense. We have something called The Setup, which is in ABBA's story their first studio album, Ring Ring, featuring their first notable hit People Need Love. Then there's the inciting incidents, which is described as the event that sets the main character or characters on the journey that will occupy them throughout the narrative. In ABBA's case, that is Waterloo, their first big hit, which won them the Eurovision Song Contest in 1974. Rising Action, the lead up to the climax, ABBA's next major hits Mamma Mia and SOS. And finally, in 1976 and 1977, ABBA reached the high point of their career, releasing their biggest hit and one of the most important pop songs of all time, Dancing Queen, going on a major tour through Australia and releasing their next album, The Album, and ABBA the Movie at the same time. After that, our main characters either experience a certain amount of ongoing success or failure, as a direct result of what happened during the climax. Falling action is what happens near the end of a story, after the climax and resolution of a major conflict, in ABBA's case, 2 divorces. And now, after 40 years, we're finally getting the missing piece. Resolution.
These were some fascinating views, and I completely agree that the ABBA legacy is like a story. It really feels like a fairy tale, and it made me think about Björn's Pop Story, a book and animated short film that you can watch at the very own cinema inside ABBA the Museum. And in another video of mine, I already talked about how I feel that ABBA's 8 albums are a somewhat chronological reflection of the 4 seasons, spring, summer, autumn and winter. Back then, our friend Tresbian added that it is indeed like a circle of life. What do you think about Voyage, the album, the song titles, and what are your feelings about ABBA's legacy in relation with Voyage? Let us know in the comments below. I hope you enjoyed some of our ideas. Next time it's all about the music video for I Still Have Faith in You, the Voyage concerts and everything surrounding it. Alright, until then, hey do!